Alrighty, so it is week 11 of the NFL season. That's kind of crazy to say. It is absolutely flying by. For you guys today, I have my DST streaming options for week 11. We're going to hop right into that portion of the video, which is why you're here. The first matchup I'm looking at is Kansas City going up against the Denver Broncos. I think this game is going to be like a defensive battle. It's going to be like an interdivisional, defensive battle, rivalry football game. The Chiefs defense on the season has been pretty good. For the past 3 weeks, they're not really letting you run the football, pass the football, and score a lot of points. Good news for them, their run defense is fantastic, and we have seen on the season when Denver cannot run the football effectively with J.K. Dobbins or R.J. Harvey, they struggle a lot, and Bo Nix struggles a lot as well. What I do know is that Bo Nix is not taking a lot of sacks. He's not really allowing teams to get after him and create a lot of pressure because of how great this offensive line is. But on the flip side, he is throwing the ball into harm's way a lot. He has thrown a decent amount of interceptions. I think this game will end up setting up to be a lower scoring football game. We know the Chiefs can score a lot of points though, so there is a potential that if it's not lower scoring, it's not a defensive battle, not a true real defensive battle, the Chiefs should be able to score a lot of points. If it doesn't turn out that way, that could set it up where you're able to get a decent amount of pressure against Bo Nix and be able to turn the football over, especially if he has to pass the football a lot in the second half. Steve Spagnuolo is a fantastic defensive coordinator. He will have some fantastic blitz packages and just defensive schemes to go up against Bo Nix and Sean Payton. I think that it's not my favorite matchup for Kansas City, as far as streaming options in week 11, but they are still probably going to be a top 10 DST this coming week because of what I'm kind of projecting for this football game. The next matchup I'm looking at is another AFC West team. It is the Chargers going up against Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chargers have bounced back. They are looking more like week 1, week 2, week 3 LA Chargers defense. They are not letting you score points, and they are not letting you move the football on the field on any facet of the offensive side of the football in the past 3 weeks. They're absolutely dominating as far as a defensive unit goes. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, not that great. The guy likes to take sacks, turn over the football. Good news for the Chargers. They have been getting interceptions and they have been getting sacks on the season. They are now getting a juicier matchup against a not so great offensive unit for Jacksonville. The other thing that I really know with the Chargers the past few weeks, they've really been focusing on not letting teams run the football. When it comes to the Jags, if you take away Travis Etienne, if you take away Bashal Tutin, if they cannot run the football, the play action football game is not there. If they cannot do that, Trevor Lawrence is in trouble. Trevor Lawrence has not looked great when they do not have a run game going. I do not think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think they're going to be able to get after him early and often in this football game. And we know the Chargers can score points. So if they get out to a sizable lead in the third and fourth quarter, kind of like Kansas City is going to set up where Trevor Lawrence is going to have to be drop back passing. That is not the football game that him and Liam Cohen want to be utilizing or doing or following, or however I should be saying that. It could set up where the Chargers are able to get an immense amount of pressure, an immense amount of sacks, and at least one turnover, maybe even 2 turnovers in this football game, especially if Trevor Lawrence is down by a lot and has to try and lead them back to win the football game. I think the Chargers for the week are one of my top 3 options to stream. I think they've looked a lot better in the past handful of weeks, and they are a viable, a pretty good viable option in week 11. The next matchup I am looking at is the Packers going up against the Giants, and I'm going to caveat this, big banner caveat. The Packers defense, I've said it all years, up, down, up, down, up, down. So if it is Jackson Dart playing, you cannot start them in my opinion. I do not think they are a viable option. But if it is Russell Wilson, if Jackson Dart cannot clear concussion protocol, I think that the Packers are in a smash spot. I think that Micah Parsons is in a smash spot. I think this team is looking to bounce back after a pretty poor performance in Monday night against the Eagles. I think that if you see Russell Wilson playing, he is going to be the starter. You are smashing the button to pick up the Packers. You probably will not know until later in the week, so maybe pick up somebody else and you kind of hold out hope. Again, we're not rooting for anyone to be injured, obviously, but you hold out hope if you're wanting to stream them that it is Russell Wilson. The guy cannot run. The guy cannot throw the football down the field effectively. He can't throw it short. He is absolutely not the guy. There is no Cam Scatterbo. There is no Malik Neighbors. He is down to Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Theo Johnson, who are all okay, but they are not elite. I think that this football game could be an absolute smash spot for this Packers defense. They should be able to score points against a pretty bad Giants offense. So in the second half, you're going to see Russell Wilson drop back passing, no play action pass, having to throw, being asked to throw 20, 30 times in this football game. I do not think it is going to set up as a fun game for this Giants offense. If Jackson Dart plays though, you're not starting him. But if it is Russell Wilson, happily pick up the Packers. They have the potential to be a top 5 DST in week 11. The next matchup I am monitoring is the Miami Dolphins going up against the Commanders. Their defense the past handful of weeks has looked a lot better. They are putting everything they have into the defense side of the football and the offense side of the football, and the good news for them, the Commanders are not going to have Jaden Daniels. It should be Marcus Mariota. The run game for the Commanders has not been that great, so he is going to have to pass the ball a lot, especially if the Dolphins can score against a pretty bad defensive unit, both on the ground and through the air for the Washington Commanders. I think kind of like some of these other games I've talked about, there's a potential in the second half that they could be down by a lot of points. Marcus Mariota can't run the play action. He can't run the football. They're going to have to pass way too many times. If that happens, the Dolphins probably can get some decent pressure on him. They've been stopping the run. They've been getting some sacks. They've looked a lot better through the past few weeks. They are trying to keep Mike McDaniel's job intact as the football coach for the Miami Dolphins. I think that this is not, again, my favorite matchup on the week, kind of like Kansas City. But if you are in a larger league and there's not a lot of great options at the DST spot, I think you could do worse than the Miami Dolphins. If this game goes the way, like I said, for the Kansas City Chiefs, like I think it's actually going to end up turning out and going. I think they finish as like a top 10-ish option for a DST streaming spot. It could be that they're like top 5 option, but like realistically, I think they should easily be like a top 10 option on the week for the DST streaming spot in week 11. The next two teams are probably not like truly streamable, but if they are available in your league, you should be absolutely picking them up. It is the Patriots going up against the Jets. Patriots defense is pretty much top 5 to top 10 in every single defensive category. The New York Jets offense has been absolutely abysmal. Unfortunately, Justin Fields cannot get it done. The run game for them probably will not get going with Breece Hall either. Breece Hall's fine. The problem is the Patriots are not letting you run the football. In the games where the Jets cannot run the football, Justin Fields is being asked to throw way too many times. It is not setting up very pretty for him. I think the Patriots are going to get a huge lead in this football game. They are going to dominate the Jets on both sides of the football. And I think that sets it up where Justin Fields is going to be in a blender like he's been in the past handful of weeks. Had a lot of hope for him. Hasn't materialized. I think this is a fantastic streaming option in week 11. They should easily finish the top 5, top 6 option this coming week. They might not be available in your league, so don't like go in the comments and hate on me. I'm just saying if they are available in your league, I think they are one of the best options to pick up and play at the DST spot this coming week. The last matchup I am looking at is the Houston Texans. Much like the Patriots, they're probably not streamable. They're probably picked up in the majority of leagues, like I've already said. But if they are available, I absolutely think the Texans have the best matchup on the week. They are playing an interdivisional game against the worst offense, not only on tape, but basically statistically in every category right now against the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward is not good, unfortunately enough. Maybe it's the coaching staff, maybe it's the offensive play calling. I don't know. He has not been good. He's not played good. He's not looked good. I just don't think Cam Ward is like that guy this year, at least. I hope he bounces back next year, but the run game's not great. The offensive line's not great. This game is going to probably be a defensive battle because I don't know if Davis Mills is going to start or if it's CJ Stroud. Either way, the Texans offense has not been very great this season or last season for that matter. I do think this sets up where he's taking a lot of sacks because Tennessee is allowing you to get a lot of sacks. You're going to see another great defensive performance out of the Texans again in week 11. Unfortunately, like I said, for the Titans, they can't run the football, pass the ball. They can't score points. Like they're bottom 5 in pretty much every single category. This should set up as literally the best matchup to stream. So if the Texans are available, which they probably aren't because of how many points they scored in week 10, but if they're available in your league, you have to go pick them up. You have to stream them. It is going to be an absolute dominating smash week for the Texans in week 11. Alrighty, so there are my top 6 options to stream for week 11 for the DST spot. When it comes to the Texans and the Patriots, they're 2 of my top 3. The only issue obviously is you're probably not able to find them in the majority of leagues, so they're not like the most streamable, viable options because of that. My next favorite option, and again, they are tied right there with me with the Patriots. I said the Texans are the highest, but right there with the Patriots is the Chargers defense going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of sacks given up by Trevor Lawrence, a lot of interceptions thrown, and when it comes to the Chargers, especially the past few weeks, they've been dominant on defense. Hopefully this video helps get us a little bit closer to winning your fantasy football championship in 2025. If you're in larger leagues, my waiver wire videos have been tailored to larger league formats. So if you're looking for players that are potentially streamable going into the future and potentially fill in guys for you on bye weeks, and maybe a couple of them have the actual viability to not necessarily break out, but actually have an opportunity to be fantasy viable in the back half of the season, I'll have that video around here somewhere below or above or wherever on the screen. So if you feel so inclined and you're in a larger league especially, go check that video out. There should be some people that are still available even though the waiver wire has already passed. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. No, hopefully you guys will see me again real soon. And until then, y'all have a blessed day.